All right, the fourth Tuesday of the month means what? It must mean the return of the Embedded Correspondents segment. David Huff, Steve Ray, Doug Scheiding, John Solberg, all in array and in a row as we roll through the dais here, gentlemen. Appreciate you joining me this month, as always. It looks like some Skype has decided to rework where my normal... Who's breathing into the microphone right off the bat? We got to address this. I'm on fire right now. Who's breathing into the microphone?
I was on mute.
All right. Well, it's like I'm talking to my kids here. I caught them red-handed and nobody wants to own up to it. That's fine.
David.
So, what was that? Who's feeding back?
Off on David.
All right. Here we go. Guys, appreciate you joining me this month, and we have a number of crazy, wild, live fire and potentially not live fire related topics. First and foremost, Steve Ray, we quickly go around the dais. Who's winning the NCAA Crazy Time tournament this year?
Duke.
Duke. Wow, look at you. David Huff, who's winning the NCAA Crazy Times tournament?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. Ooh, good call. John Solberg from Michigan, who's winning the Crazy Times tournament?
I have no idea.
What?
Uh-oh.
That's it?
What's that?
You know,
I don't even know what it is.
The basketball tournament.
I'm gonna go with Duke because I like what Steve. I'm with Steve.
Nobody's heard of the basketball Crazy Times tournament? No. All right. Doug, who's winning the Crazy Times tournament?
Virginia.
Really?
Yeah, they're gonna beat Tennessee.
You're wrong, but I love the way you're putting yourself out there. I love it. Virginia. Wow. I don't think Duke is going to win, by the way. I think they're going to lose to Michigan State. That's what I think. John, I'm surprised you didn't say Michigan State. They're always ready for a run.
I know.
No? All right.
Or Michigan. He could have gone with Michigan.
I'm a sports illiterate. Is my man card in jeopardy here?
No, of course not. We're here to talk about live fire barbecue and grilling. That's it. Come on. We're just trying to show off our ability to just run off the cuff, as they say. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start with this topic first, and we'll start with Doug. KCBS competition chicken. Is it barbecue or is it meat manipulation?
Oh, this is like an attorney leading the witness in a certain direction. It's total meat manipulation.
Total.
It's totally, yeah. You remove the bones. You cook in muffin pans. You jacquard the skin so that it's more bite through. You use paint scrapers or quick trim to scrape the fat off. You use food coloring so that it has a perfect color when you turn it in. Do I need to go on? You do the legs and lollipops. The hardest thing to cook is the breast. And how many people turn in the breast in KCBS? None. So they do the thighs and the legs. It's really pretty hard to screw them up. So the only thing they have to play with is how it looks.
All right, let's go to John Solberg. KCBS competition chicken, barbecue, or meat manipulation?
Well, I tend to side with Daniel Vaughn on this.
Oh.
I'm going to call it judge manipulation. I agree that it's meat manipulation to manipulate human judges with the sweet, the feel, the texture to change it. It's hitting that judge's mark and that super sweet bite through to just fill every taste receptor in your mouth. I'm going to call it judge manipulation.
All right, we go to a kind of new competitor from Oklahoma, David Huff. Your thoughts on competition chicken?
Can't stand it. Meat manipulation all the way. The rules of what they say the judges should look for, it's not chicken. I mean, only people in competition barbecue cook it like that. No one else in America cooks it like that at home just because.
All right, last word. Steve Ray, the chief pitmaster of Owl's Nest Barbecue. Meat manipulation or barbecue when it comes to competition chicken?
How do we get from this to that? Total meat manipulation. You know, teams use meat glue. Did you know that?
What's meat glue?
Meat glue is they use it. It's a meat. Have you ever been to the butcher shop and you get a steak and it looks like three little pieces, but it's all together?
Yes.
And you go, that's three different pieces of meat that the butcher has glued together. there is a product called meat glue, and I have seen it used to glue the skin to the thighs so when the judges bite it, it doesn't come off. It's cheating and it's legal.
Well, then it can't be cheating.
That's how gross. That's how gross KCBS chicken is. You get from that to that. It's just it's disgusting. But if you're gonna compete, you've got to do it that way. And I know how to do it that way, and I do it that way. But it's crazy. The way they do it in Texas is the way to do it. They turn it. What's that thing called, Doug?
It's a half bird.
Was that
a fully jointed half chicken.
It looks like a chicken. It looks like something that's edible. This looks like loaves of bread.
Well, look, here's the bottom line. We can all talk about meat manipulation, if it is, if it isn't. But this is where you have evolved into. I can't imagine that 25 years ago when Dr. Barbecue was getting into his first barbecue competition, that's how they were doing chicken. But somehow and some way it has evolved into making everything look the same and this bite through skin that you're talking about. But that's all what the competition is about. That's what you have to shoot for. Whether you think it's meat manipulation or it's not barbecue or it's not what you would serve in your backyard, that's where the delineation of competition comes in. I will make the point that not only is KCBS competition chicken meat manipulation, but all the way across those 4 meat turn-ins, it's all manipulation. You don't really make brisket like that. You don't really, maybe pork shoulder is as close to normal backyard stuff, but even then, a lot of teams are turning in the money muscle medallions, and that's it. There's not a lot of pulled or a lot of chopped. And then, of course, the ribs are well over the top with sweetness. And who the hell in real life is injecting their freaking ribs? Talk about meat manipulation. People are injecting their ribs on the regular now when it comes to competition. So I don't think it's just a chicken thing. I think it's an overall 4-category meat manipulation, but that's where competition barbecue is right now. Anybody want to rebut that? Raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll move on. 3, 2, 1. Moving on.
I think ribs. I actually disagree. I think ribs are probably the most natural. Not
probably
not
in Texas. Probably in Texas.
Yeah, we don't. Well,
I think
I used to inject.
So
I don't inject it much more anymore.
Let's go ahead and further redact down the differences in sanctioning body. I think Texas barbecue is probably more towards what the real realm of barbecue, or what we would consider to be the real realm of barbecue, than any other sanctioning body out there. Would you agree with that, David?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's most, I judge it by it's most like the way I prefer to eat my barbecue.
Steve,
I think Texas is closest.
Steve, do you think Texas is closest to real barbecue?
Hey, I sure do, Greg. It's got to be. It looks like it. The briskets look like briskets. The chicken looks normal. The ribs look like normal. It looks edible. It looks edible. The chicken looks edible. What we do doesn't even look edible.
Steve, did you just censor yourself?
Yeah, he just censored himself. What's that all about?
It wasn't me. I thought that was you, Greg.
No, not me. John, do you agree that Texas barbecue competition looks more like regular barbecue?
Hands down, 100%.
All right, next question, and you're.
Yep. May I respond, Greg?
All right.
You didn't ask me. In terms of Texas barbecue, the only
I started with you, Doug. Are you listening? You were the first person I asked that question to.
No, you asked me in terms of the KCBS, and I responded that I didn't agree with the rib. The IBCA leads in the manipulation of brisket. We have more glazing of brisket down here than I think you do in KCBS. I just went to a contest this weekend, and that seemed to be the general consensus.
Really?
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, what were they doing, Doug? Glazing?
Well, I own the domain just au jus it, by the way. But anyway, in Texas, the concept of glazing the brisket We don't do burn ends down here, but people are glazing the brisket just like you glaze your ribs. They're glazing the brisket for about 5 to 10 minutes, and it has this sheen on it. So it's a sweet sheen on it. And the consensus after going to the contest this weekend up in Utah at KCBS, they do not do that yet.
So like sweet beef?
Yes, it's a sweet beef. It's almost blasphemy to me.
Oh, all right. Let's quickly go around. David Huff, sweet beef, yes or no?
Well, actually, the very first time I sat in with a real competition, barbecue team, someone with some experience, they travel around to different contests. I saw them do that, Doug. It was KCBS. I'd never seen it before. They glazed it. They put a sauce on it. They made sure to heat the sauce up properly. They put a finishing dust on it. I mean,
Yep.
It was just unbelievable. And then when I took a bite of it, it was good, but that's about all I could stand would be one bite. So I don't want the sauce on my meat. I want to eat it plain. That's just me.
Steve, sweet beef, yes or no?
Yes, it's done in KCBS. Burn ends are dunked in Blues Hog and Tennessee Red. Not so much the brisket, but the burn ends are. I think it's good. It tastes good.
John, sweet beef, yes or no?
No, total judge manipulation
No doubt.
again.
Yeah, I'm not in for sweet beef at all. Next question, we're going to start with John Solberg. Single best all-purpose barbecue and or grilling rub.
Got it right here for you. Gluten-free, sugar-free, paleo, keto. This bottle of 12 ounces costs you $1.79. It is 421 salt, pepper, garlic. Does everything.
421?
4 parts salt, 2 parts restaurant grind pepper, 1 part granulated garlic, and you are good to go. $1.79. Shipping is free.
Doug Scheiding, best single all-purpose barbecue and grilling rub.
At first I was thinking Montreal steak seasoning, but I don't think that goes on chicken. And I thought the same of an SPG, which is, they call the Texas Trinity, the salt, pepper, garlic. But again, that's no chicken. Tony Chachere's does make a great chicken. I just can't see it on brisket. That's kind of like a Cajun salt. I almost went with Smoking Guns, but I'm going with Head Country Original Barbecue Rub.
Really?
It's been around for over. Yes, I am. It makes great chicken. I use it on my competition ribs, and I used to use it on my brisket. So, absolutely.
All right, David, best all-purpose barbecue and grilling rub.
Yeah, Doug beat me to it. I was absolutely going to say Head Country. It's universally available. I mean, you can get it at just about any Walmart. They sell the sauce in all 50 states. It's just sometimes under a different name. But Head Country Rub, all-purpose chicken, pork, beef, and it's actually pretty affordable as well. So that's where I would give the best all-purpose nod to.
Yeah, so I think in my case, and I have had my hands on any number of rubs over the last 10, 11 years, and when I think about, so all-purpose for me means it goes good on chicken, it goes good on beef in general, so that would be brisket or steak or burgers, and then somehow it also has to work with pork, and that's the game changer. I think chicken and beef can kind of be interlaced. They're obviously not the same, but kind of close-ish. But pork kind of throws everything off because, at least for my flavor profile or my palate, I want pork sweet. I like a sweet pork. So, in the end, I have to kind of fall back with John, except I'm going to leave out the garlic part. I'm just going to go straight up 50-50 salt and pepper. Works on everything. It's simple. You put smoke on it or something else. It all works together, makes a nice crust. Works good on steak, chicken, and pork. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than that. And certainly no disrespect to anybody that has sent me stuff over the years. But, I mean, if you want to go across the board, to me, it's salt and pepper, and that's it. Very Texas, I know, Doug. But what can I tell you? I mean, simple work sometimes. Next.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Oh, you left me out. Okay.
Oh, I did?
Yes. Butcher Barbecue Grilling Addiction.
Yeah, you're right. It's really good.
On all 4 proteins turned in by the winner of the Jack Daniels 2017 World Championship, which is just like winning the British Open, the world champion barbecuer, David Bosca.
Yep.
Every piece of meat he turned in had grilling addiction on it. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I can tell you one thing that you could say, Steve, and that is you're not the only one who believes that. Neighbor Desmond also believes that grilling addiction is certainly the best rub out there. Who I think he ordered 6 bottles the last time he put an order. So Doug is head country. John Solberg is talking to people off camera, probably getting ready for the show on Friday, and says it's salt, pepper, garlic. I'm salt, pepper. And Steve Ray says grilling addiction. So if you haven't had any of those, as you're listening, go to the websites and buy them respectively. Or if you partner with John or myself, easily gotten ingredients that you can mix on your own. Next up, we touched a little, well, actually a lot more than I thought we were going to with Jess Pryles. And we talked about picanha, which I didn't even know how to say right. She thought I was kind of letting her set up to say it correctly. I have no idea how to say it until she said it. Picanha. This is a fad or not a fad, an item that I have seen start to take over social media here in the last, let's say, 6 or 8 months. It does have that lemon push wedge to it, as she was talking about, how you fold the meat in on itself. It's got the big fat cap. It's a sirloin cap for layman's terms. Steve Ray, what do we know about picanha?
I know nothing about picanha.
So are you interested in it at all?
I'm always interested in trying something new. Yes, I know where it's at because I looked it up today. I've never tasted it. Apparently, she said the Brazilians know what's going on. I have to trust Jess Pryles to have been to Brazil. I've never been there. I would like to taste it. I'd like to cook it. I could do a eye of round. I think the eye of round's pretty close to it, isn't it, Doug? In the cow.
Yeah, it's actually up a little higher. It's up underneath the skin. So yeah, it's higher than that.
I've done eye of round. It's delicious. So I'm all about it. If I could get it.
I wonder if it's close to eye of round. I wonder if picanha would make good jerky. You think, Doug?
Yeah, it actually might, but bottom sirloin I think makes, or even deer tenderized deer cutlets makes really good jerky. So,
let's stay with you, Doug. What do you know about picanha?
Okay, well, I know Steve kind of lives out in the sticks. The Brazilian steakhouses are coming to a town near you. Not sure it's going to be in Ottawa anytime soon, but as Jess mentioned, you leave the fat cap on. I've actually just started cooking it here in the last month and a half, 2 months, and you leave the fat cap on when you put it on a skewer, and you slice it in thickness steaks about 3/4 of an inch, put it in a C and put it on a skewer and turn the grill up high and kind of grill it. It's really good that way. And but if you cook it like a tri-tip, yeah, do exactly like she said in terms of trimming off the fat cap and cook it like a tri-tip and, do it at about 130, 135. So it's really good. And it has a lot of flavor.
So do you think she went a little, I mean, obviously it's personal preference, of course, but do you think she went a little high on her finished internal temps around 140 or so?
Yeah, I wouldn't go that high. I'd cook it like a tri-tip, trim off all the fat. On the tri-tip, I'd trim off all the fat on the top and the bottom as well, and then I would trim off that big fat cap as well. If you're going to slow smoke it, if you're going to grill it, leave that fat cap on.
David Huff, picanha, sí or no?
The Brazilian steakhouses, Steve. Those Brazilian people, huh? I think that's where I've tried it as a Brazilian steakhouse. I'm not entirely sure because when you go there, you just, there's so much to choose from. Greg, you're absolutely right. It is all the rage on social media, Instagram posts, Facebook, YouTube videos, all over. I didn't know how to say it properly, but I was really interested in trying it. I've seen it curled up on the sticks and it looks great. I'd probably try to fast grill it. Just to touch on what Jess said, if it's similar to a ribeye with the fat content on it, I would agree with her to take it up a little bit higher because I think you get more of the fat dissolving, you get more of the intermuscular breakdown. I probably would take it up a little bit closer to medium. I've started doing that with the ribeyes over medium rare, and I'm starting to like that a little bit more on my steaks. Fillets, I'd still do rare, but that's just me.
Fillets, it's hard to do anything but rare unless you're going to butterfly. We almost had that conversation at St. Elmo's this past weekend when the middle daughter wanted a fillet, and I said, well, you want a filet, you're going to have to tell that guy you wanted butterflied. And if you say butterflied, he might whip out a pocket knife and try and take a swipe at you. But anyway, let me talk to John Solberg about picanha.
Hey, I tend to disagree that it is the hottest thing on social media right now.
Right.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, tomahawks replaced picanha from the great one, and that is quickly being replaced by hamburgers. So we're a couple trends back.
Oh.
It is delicious meat. Started cooking it like 2017. It is kind of difficult to find where I'm at because most meat cutters and most major markets don't really know what it is.
Are you ordering sirloin cap, or are you saying picanha?
I am saying sirloin cap because
Okay.
if you go into if you go into the grocery store and go, hey, I sure would like to get some spinalis, they'll look at you and like, what are you talking about? So picanha is not going to work. You got to talk to your meat cutter, not your butcher at your grocery store. Explain to them what you're going to get. And when the sirloin comes in, they will take it off and save it for you. It is delicious. It's wonderful. But at the end of the day, it is just a piece of sirloin with a fancy presentation that looks really cool on Instagram. And that trend is dying. That's my take.
All right. I have no take because I have not had it, so I can't have a take. But I sure would like to go to my local butcher and ask for a sirloin cap and then figure it out from there. All right, guys, you hang out for just 1 second here while I do a load of business, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about perhaps one cooker that you would have for the rest of your life, or Nashville hot chicken, or hottest barbecue and grilling chick or dude. You know, that stuff. But quickly, I will tell you about Big Papa Smokers.